The most potent builds in Elden Ring are those that center on sorcery. When properly adjusted, they may make some of the hardest bosses in the game look easy. Additionally, you'll need a staff if you plan to cast any spells. As you explore the lands between, you'll come across numerous, although some are significantly more helpful than others. These discrepancies might be attributed to a variety of factors, like high damage or a bonus to a specific class of spell. Whatever the case, it's clear that not all staves are equally useful. Here are a few that you might want to use on your subsequent game. Unlike other staffs, the meteorite staff cannot be modified in any way. That normally renders it entirely worthless. Its base scaling, though, is extraordinary. The early game staff is unquestionably the greatest. Furthermore, it is conveniently reachable by heading to Caelid's Street of Sages ruins fairly immediately. For a beginner, defeating Caelid is a difficult undertaking, but the meteorite staff is a valuable prize even if you have to perform a suicide run to obtain it. It's important to note that the meteorite staff still has some usage in the late game, because it increases gravity sorceries by 30%. These sorceries, and rock sling in particular, are among of the more advantageous ones available. Holding the meteorite staff in your offhand will provide you a significant advantage if you intend to base your build around them. Swords are amazing, but don't you wish they were made of magic, rather than metal or stone? Do we have the personnel for you? The Carrion Glintstone Staff raises the effectiveness of sword sorceries by 15%. Notably, it does not improve glintblade sorceries, which produce floating swords. For that, you'll require the aptly titled Carrion Glintblade Staff. The Carrion Glintstone Staff is frequently a crucial element in making these sword sorceries-based builds function smoothly and inflict unexpectedly effective damage. Right before the second elevator in the Carrion Study Hall is where you can discover it. The potency of Staff of Loss differs little from the majority of the other staves on this list in terms of its base spell scaling. Its secondary ability, which increases invisibility sorceries by 30%, is where its excellence lies. Only Night Comet and Night Shard are impacted by it. However, it appears that those spells are quite helpful. These spells are one of the best alternatives for dealing with NPC invaders and some of the most irritating bosses, because they can't be dodged. When you obtain a second Staff of Loss in New Game Plus, your invisibility sorceries receive a 60% boost, making this tactic even more powerful. On the roofs of Celia, Town of Sorcery, there is a corpse that you can loot for Staff of Loss. The Carrion Regal Scepter will cause more damage than any other staff at high levels of intelligence without any drawbacks. It also has a special Ash of War that increases full moon sorceries. Both of those are not game-changing, but they are nonetheless a good addition to a staff that is already incredibly strong. This staff is ideal if all you want is power, without having to worry too much about additional buffs and debuffs. You can obtain the Carrion Regal Scepter early in the game by defeating the Full Moon Queen Renala at the Academy of Raya Lucaria and exchanging her memory for Enia in the Round Table Fortress. You'll discover a chest after making one more trip back to Celia, Town of Sorcery, and eliminating the area's bosses, the Nox Swertress and Nox Priest. The Lucet's Glintstone Staff, the most potent weapon in the game, is contained there. It will deal more damage than any other stave in the game, assuming intelligence is the sole damage-based statistic you are investing in. It increases the price of all sorceries by more than double, or 50%. Just like the Azure Glintstone Staff. However, if you're prepared to devote the levels into mind and raise your FP, Lucet's Glintstone Staff is worthwhile to employ, because you'll be dealing far more damage. Of course, the extra cost is irrelevant if you're using the Cerulean Hidden Tear in your Flask of Wondrous Physic, which stops all FP consumption for 15 seconds. Overall, Lucet's Glintstone Staff is king if all you're looking for is raw damage output, even though it may not be as effective as the Carrion Regal Scepter.
Right.